Well, it's Saturday, so I figured I'd get really deep talking about value and worth. So I was just recently brought to my awareness from a really good person that the line of thinking about intrinsic value. Do you really have value just for being alive? A value intrinsic, which is within in and of itself? Or is that value only contingent upon what you can offer or what you do or what you can do externally on the outside? So I guess it's all a matter of perspective. So there's many different perspectives and none of them are wrong because we're all human beings. And in this human experience, we are taught that we have to create value and worth, and that we do that through our whole lives, through school, through, sports and everything. So, we create what we feel is going to be valuable to people. And then we identify in certain roles and say, hey, we need to keep this up in order to have our value and worth be solidified. And then it's all contingent upon whether you can maintain those things or not, right? So if you are an axe thrower for a living and then you don't have any arms, then you no longer have value and worth, right? So, what is that based in? Is that based in your own perspective, or is that the perspective of humanity? Or is it because you were taught that and that was a program that you're running? Well, it's all three. It's all three. So, in this world that we live in, we have money, and money is based in worth, right? According to value. So the value of $1 is lower than the value of a $20 bill. That is a fact. That is something that we have to live in this reality with every single day. So what we tend to do is put ourselves into this position where then we are comparing ourselves to money, and we think that we have to have certain things in order to maintain a certain value. But if you think about it, we're all born, and when we're born, what value do we have? We haven't developed any of these things yet. The only people that we're valuable to is our parents because they love us, because they created us, right? Or whoever. Or if you're adopted, or then the adoptive family, is the people that are valuing you, and you're worth something to them, but you're not worth anything to anybody else. You can't provide anything, right? And then what happens when you're sick and you're old and you're in a nursing home? Again, no value, right? A lot of people just say, oh, this person doesn't really have anything that they can offer anymore, so therefore their value goes down. Is that true? It's a matter of perspective. I find that, from my own perspective and programming and experiences, that I find old people more valuable than babies, from my perspective, because I don't like crying and it gets on my nerves and it stresses me. But I find value in older people because they have wisdom. They've lived longer than me. They've already lived this life. So I'm going to go listen to what you have to say. So I'd rather sit in a nursing home than a nursery any day of the week. But that's me. And you may completely be the opposite, or maybe you find value in neither, right? So this is where I think education and academics come into play in life. If you haven't gone to school and taken philosophy 101 or theology classes or anything like that, you don't even contemplate this kind of stuff, right? A philosophy major, people look at them and say, oh God, they're a philosophy major. What good is that going to be, right? Because you're not making $1 million a year. You're not applying something, right? Now it's all about technical and trade and what can I do right now really fast and make something of myself in life. Well, guess what? That only lasts so long. After a while, you're going to be contemplating these very things that I'm talking about right now, and you better have a study in philosophy, theology, or something of that ilk in order to be able to deal with what's going to come up for you in life as a human being. So I find it valuable, talking about value, that people educate themselves on deeper philosophical things so that you can understand what it is to be a human and not just what it is to have chosen a role and identify yourself through all kinds of things from the outside that you believe to give you the value and worth. And at the end of the day, you're not going to have that. At the beginning of your birth, you didn't have that. So who are you really, and where does that value come from, right? It's hard sometimes for us to believe that people have intrinsic value and they just have value just within themselves existing because of what the society is that we live in. But I'm going to tell you this. If something happens to somebody and they can't do those things that they do anymore, you damn well believe that they're going to strive to find a way to feel valuable again. And they will do what they can to try to again feel that from other people, validation from the outside. And so then again, they're reliant upon a new way of being to connect with people from the outside in order to get this value affirmation, because it's so hard to believe that we just have it just because. And that's something that is all of humanity is going to have to come down to and deal with. And people can run from this. They can try to escape it. They can try to continue to do to make themselves feel better. But at the end of the day, it's going to catch up at one point or another. And so, you know, if we look at the dollar and we look at the human, it's very different in the way that we define value and the way that we define worth. So maybe you could take a couple of minutes and sit down with yourself today and say, do I try to get my worth through doing all these things? And why do I do that? Is it because I measure worth and value myself from these things and other people? Probably, right? What do I find valuable in other people, which is then what I think that other people are going to find value in me. And if I don't have it, I'm going to go into a mad panic. So, thoughts of the day about value and worth. There was another point I was going to make, but I completely forget what it is. I'm going to find valuable. The next person's going to find completely useless. So if you make a giant list of all the things that you find that give you value or that you find valuable in other people, and you give that list to a friend, that friend is going to disagree with half of what's on that list. So then how can we ultimately know and strive for this value that we get from the outside if it's contingent upon what that person's opinion and perspective is? All right. Well, anyway, I just thought I'd leave you with that value stuff today. I hope you have a good one. Enjoy your day.